You check your account on payday. A solid chunk of cash lands, bringing a momentary sense of relief. But then, roughly 72 hours later, you check the balance again. The number staring back at you is practically zero. You rack your brain trying to figure out where it all went. You didn't buy a sports car. You didn't drop thousands on designer clothes. Instead, the drain came from places you barely noticed, like recurring auto debits, nightly food deliveries, small low-tier EMIs, and digital streaming subscriptions. The trap here is psychological. Every single one of these expenses feels completely routine, easily justified, and entirely necessary for getting through the week. But if all this spending is perfectly normal, why is the resulting bank balance zero? The math reveals a quiet truth. Your financial system is bleeding out from invisible leaks. The first instinct is to blame your salary, but you don't lack income. You are dealing with a systemic classification error. This error happens when the hard boundary between a biological survival need and a lifestyle want gets totally erased. This chart breaks down everyday decisions. You require transportation for work, but the system categorizes a luxury motorcycle as a survival requirement. The same rerouting happens with nutrition. Caloric requirements get mapped away from groceries and sent directly into premium restaurant deliveries. By tagging these comfort items as mandatory needs, the brain automatically authorizes the expense. There is no friction and zero financial guilt. But calling a want a need doesn't reduce its cost. It simply tricks your internal logic into steadily bankrupting your own system. The psychological mechanism quietly driving these categorization errors is lifestyle inflation. This line graph shows how a salary increase triggers an equal reaction. The baseline for a normal life shifts upward to match new pay. As wealth increases, necessary expenses expand alongside it, consuming every new dollar that comes in. This is why simply earning a higher salary rarely solves the issue. Your behavioral upgrades are consistently outpacing your ability to generate actual wealth. To fix the leak, we have to treat capital differently. Think of your money as a workforce, where every dollar you earn is assigned to one of three specific job descriptions. Job 1 is survival. These dollars cover the absolute basic operational expenses required to keep you alive and functioning, like shelter and groceries. Job 2 is lifestyle. This capital is deployed strictly to purchase comfort and convenience above your survival baseline. Job 3 is wealth. These are the dollars explicitly assigned to buy your future freedom. This donut chart shows the fatal flaw in the modern earner's budget. By allocating 100% of capital to survival and comfort, you are effectively firing the entire workforce meant to build your freedom. Rebooting this financial system requires a new numerical sorting algorithm, the 40-20-40 rule. This ledger outlines the exact allocation protocol. You strictly cap your actual needs at 40% of your income, dedicate 20% to your wants, and push a massive 40% directly into investments. Adopting this strict reallocation will feel highly restrictive at first, yet forcing capital away from comfort and into investments is the actual architecture of financial power. To maintain this structure and prevent a relapse, you have to run a simple 3-question decision filter before making any future purchase. The checklist is rigorous. Ask yourself, does this help me survive? Would I still buy it if my income suddenly stopped? And does this generate wealth for me in the future? If the answer to these questions is no, the purchase is definitively a want. It must be categorized as such and paid for strictly from that 20% pool. Apply this strict systemic logic over several months, and the panic of a draining account begins to fade. Your salary hasn't changed by a single dollar, but your overall financial reality has entirely shifted. The zero balance mystery is gone. In its place, you have growing investments and complete analytical control over where your capital flows. Needs will keep you alive. Wants make life enjoyable, but only investments buy your freedom. If you don't dictate these categories, your spending will dictate your life.